let's see how this goes. It is Saturday night, February 9th, and I did something different today than what I normally do. So I'm in my pajamas, and they're big and they're roomy. I got them for Christmas from my husband. I think he thought I went up a size. Okay, so I did go up in pounds, and I did go up in some sizes, but I wasn't ready for him to buy me this size yet. Not that I want him to ever, but it happened, and you know, I'm smiling. I was a little upset. I told him that I was upset, but I kept them anyway, and they're comfy, so that's what matters, right? All right. We're going to be annoyed by my dog. Can I have that ball, please? Because I know you're going to throw it down. Oh, please don't. No. She throws it on the ground. I can't reach it because I'm on my bed. Oh, the socks don't match, but they're comfy, so it's okay. And I don't know, does anybody wear matching socks? I do know, actually, my girlfriend, she does. She will wear matching socks, even with her pajamas. I think that's cute. Okay, so what did I do today? I went back to that needle shop that I was telling you guys about, We the Needle in Brea, California, and that makes it look really big. Does it really matter? No, it does not. Okay, so I went there because the last time I went, she took down my address and she said, do you want to, our email address, she asked me if I wanted to get emails, and I said, yeah, sure, I do, okay. And so she sent me an email, and I got it yesterday, which was Friday, and on there, you know, she's talking about the different specials, like all of her patterns are 25% off right now, and then she had mentioned her stitchy. Oh, my paper bent for my dog, kind of bummed. I don't like bends. Anyways, she mentioned that she has, you know, I can't remember what she calls her Friday, sit and chat, or stitch and chat Friday nights, and they order dinner from a local restaurant, and then Saturdays they have social Saturday, and you sit and socialize. So Friday, I could have gone because my daughter and my husband went to the father-daughter dance, but I figured by the time I fought traffic, because, you know, in California, there's just traffic everywhere you go, all hours of the day, night. I figured by the time I weave my way through traffic and get there, I might have an hour to stitch and then pack up and leave. And then kind of on one hand, I thought, well, that might be good because I was very nervous about doing it. I've never done that. And even though I enjoy talking to all of you, and I enjoy, you know, I don't mind going into like my patient's room and not knowing them and going in and talking to them and feeling confident. For whatever reason, just the idea of going into the needle store and stitching with strangers. Stitching with strangers, really? That should be the title. Stitching with strangers. Stitching with strangers. Stitching with strangers just frightened me. Stitching with strangers terrified me? No, that didn't work. Anyways, you know, what didn't really terrify me, but it kind of made me nervous, and so I drove there. Well, it's a long story to it, but eventually I got there today, and I sat in my car gaining confidence for like 5 minutes, and I know that where they have the stitching room, you can look out onto the parking lot because there's this big picture window from the storefront, and they sit right there, and I thought they're probably watching me thinking, who's that? Like, who pulls up into this strip mall on a Saturday, which is almost empty, and sits there in their car. I'm thinking, oh, now I'm going to be the weird one, right? All this is going through my mind. But I got confidence, and I went inside, and I was the only one there to stitch, besides the owner. Not to anybody's fault or anything. Just, you know, I guess whoever wants to come in and stitch, and they do. So when I first walked in, I told her right away, I'm like, I'm here to stitch. And she said, oh, fine, come and sit down. There was another woman sitting there, but she was on her computer, and she was doing some schoolwork because she's a teacher. And so she was doing that. And then there was another lady in the store, and she was buying things, waiting for her husband to come pick her up. And what else? Oh, in her flyer online, in her email, she had mentioned, has anybody watched YouTube or FlossTube, excuse me. And so, okay, the day that I went in there, I had mentioned to her that somebody else had told me about the store, that was probably the closest one around, because I had, okay, backpedal. So when I go to the thrift store, there's a woman there that her name is Joan, and she is the one who primarily puts out all the cross-stitching stuff. And she, you know, she's a cross-stitcher, she's a crafter, and so she knows the price of what these things should go for. And so she's the one that, she's a volunteer, and she's the one that goes in and she prices everything. And when I started purchasing things there, she was pointing different things out. Did you see this? I've got some more stuff in the back that's going to be coming out, so look out for it. I can't tell you when it's coming out because that's not fair, but blah, 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 blah. And I'd asked her, that was like about 2 years ago, where there was a local shop. And she said, there really isn't any more local ones, but there is one out in Brea if you want to drive out there. And there's also one, I think, in Garden Grove. And she'd mentioned it to me. And then I kind of just forgot about it, you know, just placed it in the brain, like way in the back top shelf somewhere. And I think right about that time, I was watching a video by Dina. Hi, Dina, from Cross Stitch, Half Stitch, Cross Stitch. It's Saturday night. I'm in my pajamas, so I'm so sorry, Dina, if I just messed up your name. She had mentioned that she had been out in California, and that while she was here, she went to a stitching store and sat and stitched while her husband was running a race at Disneyland. So I remembered that because I also put that back on the top shelf way in the back there. Okay, so now let's pedal to the forward here, and it is last week, Monday, something, I don't remember, guys. I went to, no, it was last Friday, right? Yeah, so it's been a week. Anyway, so someone's sending me messages and I'm reading them. Okay, so anyways, when I was there, I told the lady, I said, I've never been really into a needle store. I said, I was one up in Northern California, but I haven't been in a stitching store since. And I said, this kind of makes me nervous. I'm excited. I want to see all the things. And then I told her, I said, I will let you know. I heard about your store from 2 ways. And actually, she knew that other woman, Joan. And she's like, oh, I know Joan. She comes in here on Saturdays, and she'll sit and stitch for hours. And she also comes on Thursdays, and you should come in on Thursdays. And so anyways, it was a good time. The kids distracted me. So it was, she knew who I was talking about, and I said, but I also heard about you. I said, do you ever watch YouTube? Have you ever heard of FlossTube? And she said, oh, that sounds familiar. And I said, well, and I told her about Dina, and that Dina had mentioned it. And I said, I just find it ironic because she's a woman from a different state. And she's like, I know who you're talking about. Lovely lady. She came in here and sat and stitched for hours. And she's like, oh, she was such a delight. And she said, and her husband ran this race at Disneyland. I'm like, I completely forgot about that story at that point in time. And actually, when I had got home, I had messaged Dina and I told her about it. And then I said, and she even remembered that your husband was running at Disneyland. And she's like, oh, how sweet of her to remember. So the impressions we make on people sometimes are big, you know, but she remembered Dina. And so I think that's why she had in her email mentioned about FlossTube. And so she has a guy who's now working for her. When I was in there that day, that Friday, he came in and he said, hey, you know what? I have plenty of extra time right now. If you need any volunteer work, he's like, I'm not expecting you to pay me. I don't mind doing anything. And if you need me to get on the internet, if you need me to move things, if you need me to box things up, if you need me to ship things out, whatever you want me to do, he's like, I'll do it. Run the store for you. And this is someone she knows. So she's like, actually, yes. And she's like, I think I want you to have to do a website thing for me and some stuff to help me keep up on it. And so they had mentioned FlossTube in the email they sent out. And they're just like, there's all these tips and tricks. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, there's so much more to it than that. So today when I went in, I didn't say anything about FlossTube. But she had mentioned that she wants to do a FlossTube. And so she's talking to someone who is an actor that's going to help her. She has somebody else who can do camera work. I mean, she's like putting all these thoughts and ideas to them, thinking, oh my gosh, like I do FlossTube and I just turn on record on my iPhone and go, like, and I put hardly any thought into it. I mean, I kind of think about what I want to say, but I don't practice it out. I don't edit. Sometimes if I say really stupid stuff coming out of my mouth in the very beginning, I will erase and re-record. But if it happens after a few minutes, you guys get what you get. So, and like the crazy hairdo. So anyways, I hope she makes the floss tubes. She was showing me some wonderful ideas for finishes, and I won't share them on here only because I have never seen them. I didn't, you know, these aren't my ideas, and I'm hoping that she will do the floss tube, and I'm hoping to, you know, I was hoping to encourage her, and I said, oh my goodness, you should show that, because I have never seen it. And I told her, I watched hours and hours and hours of years of worth of floss tube, and I know I don't mention everybody that I watch. I do try to always, you know, thumbs up. I do leave comments sometimes, and then sometimes they just don't show up, and I don't understand why, because I'll leave a long one, then it's like, but I do try to thumbs up everybody, because, you know, you spend the time. I know what it's like to do all that. You know, you deserve something. And let me just take a minute of your time. Putting thumbs down and not telling somebody why you put a thumbs down is kind of fruitless, don't you think? I mean, if you don't like the way someone looks, don't watch them. If you don't like the things that come out of their mouth, don't listen. Just don't. Putting thumbs down, though, that's not fair unless you say, hey, you know what, that was offensive, or that really hurt, or I wasn't expecting that. But if we remember that videos are someone else's opinions, thoughts, and ideas, and we're not all going to agree with everybody's thoughts and ideas, that's okay. But putting a thumbs down is kind of on the cruel side, don't you think? There was somebody that I used to enjoy, and I'll confess, this is my confession, somebody I used to enjoy to watch, and this person, I'm not going to go into names or details too much, but this person was offended by a comment, and then in his next video, he was very upset, and he expressed his displeasure, and I'm fine with that, but some of the words that came out of his mouth were just a lot of bad language. And not that I'm a prude, because I can fire off those words. I worked in a jail for a while. I work in labor and delivery. I heard it all come out of these women's mouths you don't expect. But I just wasn't expecting it. And when, you know, my daughter's in the room, I didn't want to hear that. And also, not, you know, and she doesn't live in a bubble. She'll tell me, Mom, I know all the words, but I don't want that in my house. So I just decided to take him out of my autoplay, and that's okay, because then when I'm alone and I can watch it, and now I fully think, okay, is possibly this is gonna, you know, he might say something that's whatever, that's fine. Then I can watch and listen to the rest of the content, because the rest of the content's pretty good. But this way, you know, but instead of, I didn't put a thumbs down. I didn't say that's horrible, you shouldn't do that, because that's his video. Anyways, I don't know. Hopefully I didn't go over a minute of rant, but thumbs up. It feels good, right? Subscribe to the ones you like. Don't subscribe to the other ones. Take the other ones out of your not interest. Just put not interest, and it won't even show up in your feed. Simple as that. This is the month of love. Love, love, love. Love yourself. If you don't like that, don't have it. But if you like your friends, thumbs up. Okay, so really quick, what did I buy? I didn't buy much. I bought some floss, which is in the other room. I bought some charms, and I bought some needles. I bought some new needles. So I'm gonna put those in here in the front, so that way I remember which ones those are. And the little charms, because I want to make a scissor fob, I think. I don't know. Yes, I'm gonna make a scissor fob. So I have a little scallop shell and starfish. This one doesn't have a thing to hang it from. Whoa. That's interesting. Okay, well, that one. But I paid 50 cents. I don't know how I'm going to hang that on there. because you can't. There's no way to hang that on. There's no hook. Bindi. No, beautiful. Well, I can hang these two on there. She had some other stuff. Maybe I'll find something else that has to do with the beach, and then I don't know what I'll do with this guy. Something, but he's pretty. So they weren't that much. Didn't break the bank. All right, you guys. That's it. Pajama time over. No, it's not, because it's the whole night. It's Saturday night. Okay, it's already been 15 minutes. Have a good evening, you guys. Stitch everything you want. Bye.